50 years. "2003 marked the Thunderbirds' golden anniversary. The team has logged more than 3,300 air shows in more than 60 foreign countries, not to mention scores in the United States. 6 pilots acting as one. Now, to meet some of those who pilot these slick, very fast aircraft and find out what being a Thunderbird pilot is all about.
I'm the commander of the 130-person squadron that we have, and I'm also the leader of the demonstration whenever we take to the skies on the weekends.
My primary role is to fly formation off of the boss on the left-hand side of the formation.
As a lead solo, I get to demonstrate the maximum performance capabilities of the F-16.
My position is to back up the boss, the leader, the commander leader, the #1 guy. And so I back him up on airspeeds, altitudes, references, anything you can see out the front, since I'm the only other guy that's looking forward.
Throughout the Thunderbirds' 30-minute performance, the pilots performed several formations. One mainstay since that beginning back in 1953, the famous Diamond Formation. But the show doesn't begin until Lieutenant Colonel Richard McSpadden gives the command.
Nose wheels. Gear down.
And no sooner than the 4 aircraft are wheels up, Major Beckley tucks into what is called the slot position.
That's one of the most exciting things I do in the show, because it kind of gets the show off to a great start. We got all 4 of us cruising down the runway and afterburner. As soon as we move off the ground about 150 feet, I kick full left rudder to move underneath the boss into position. So it's a pretty exciting way to start the show, and I enjoy it. I take a lot of pride in it. Shortly after the Diamond takes off, Major Canterbury makes his presence known, very loudly. And after the opposing solo pilot takes off, the show is on its way. Maneuvers like this are not easy. Just like the Thunderbird ground crew, the pilots practice, practice, practice.
And we will do a practice on Friday, demonstrations on Saturday and Sunday, and then deploy back to Nellis on Monday. We do a practice on Tuesday, take Wednesday off, and then start the whole routine over again.
You come here with all the tools you need to fly for the Thunderbirds. Our mission is just unique. It's not more difficult, or it's not less difficult than the average mission that any F-16 pilot's flying around the Air Force. It's just unique.
Smoke on, ready, now pulse in.
The best thing about it is it's fun. You know, it's close formation flying at 400 or 500 miles an hour, and we wear visors and masks, so you can't see our face. You do have the cameras in the plane, but I guarantee if you looked at each one of us up under all that equipment, we're sitting there smiling because it's the greatest job in the world.
One of the keys to what this team does is communication. Commands that to most sound more like a foreign language. It's what keeps this team on track and alive.
My primary role is just like any flight lead across the Air Force, to make sure you put your flight in the right place at the right time with the right training and the right tools to get the mission done. So that's what I'm doing for the 32 minutes that we're airborne flying the show.
We spend so much time flying together, we can pretty much read each other's mind.
To give you an example, like a formation loop call, I'll say smoke on, ready now. And on the in and now, we all turn our smoke on. Nose coming up 430. And that 430 call is an airspeed call. It gives them an idea of what kind of airspeed regime we're flying in. At the in and nose coming up, we all pull back on the stick to stay together. Once again, that's important so that we all pull together so the formation stays smooth and stable. And once we get there, we'll get on the top of the loop and I'll call into the float.
Into the float.
And at the F and float, we'll all just ease forwards ever so gently on the stick and just float it just a little bit to make sure we hit the apex altitude that we want. Now we're about halfway through the loop. And as we finish down the back side of it, we'll let the nose drop just a little bit, and I'll call back in with the pull, and on the P and pull, I'll pull on the stick, and we'll get the formation coming back up away from the ground.
Ease forward.
The 2 solo pilots speak their own language.
In the posing work that the solos do, when we attempt to meet directly at show center, a 1-second timing error can result in a 600-foot miss left or right. We pride ourselves on never being outside a 200-foot error. And as soon as he nails show center, I'm excited. I call solo check Cal and just get pretty excited about the fact that my opposing solo did some world-class work to meet me right at show center and put on an impressive hit for the crowd.
Along with performing some of the more daring maneuvers, there's an additional tradition for Todd Canterbury, who flies number 5.
Well, that's a team tradition early on in the F-16 era. The 5 is painted on the jet upside down because just about every pass I make, I'm upside down over show center. So whenever you take a picture of me, at least the number will be right side up.
Canterbury should know about traditions of the Thunderbirds. He's the first pilot with a father who also flew with the team.
It's been a dream come true for me. First and foremost, I'm excited to be a part of the Thunderbirds and representing those 364,000 personnel serving around the world. And then to have my father standing on the side supporting me and cheering me on, it just gives me goosebumps and gets me excited to go out there and perform and do the best I can. He is extremely thrilled as well, and we've just been having a great time with this on the 50th anniversary of our team.
Before they even apply as members of the team, Thunderbird pilots are required to log at least 1,000 hours in jet aircraft and have no more than 12 years of service, and those are just minimum requirements.
Now, as you might imagine, it's very competitive, so we very rarely hire anybody with the minimum qualifications just because it is so competitive.
Thank you much.
Thunderbird pilots spend a lot of time outside the cockpit, signing autographs, for example.
Hi there, how are you doing?
Visiting schools when there's a show.
In order to rise in that cream of the crop, you have to have a great foundation, just like the one I got here at DeMatha High School.
And this is where the real recruiting part of being a Thunderbird takes place.
And that mission is ongoing. Whether you're at war or whether you're not at war, you still need the number of people there.
These pilots train just as hard in the off-season, sometimes 2 or 3 flights a day, all in the pursuit of perfection.
The crowd that we're doing this show for deserves to see the perfect air show. And that's what our goal is, to go out and do the perfect air show.
I think it makes it special that here we are in our 50th year doing things with the same mindset and the same types of goals that the folks who originally conceived of the Thunderbird team, exactly what they had in mind.
As a Thunderbird pilot, it's just an honor and a privilege to represent the tremendous talent and experience of all the pilots that are serving in our Air Force throughout the world.
While those guys are out on the front lines doing the mission of the Air Force, we're back here generating the support that they need that will make them that much more effective.
To the hundreds of thousands who watch, what the Thunderbirds do is an awesome display of precision flying, entertainment, a fantastic showing of very fast, spectacular precision flying. Showmanship? Yes. Precision airmanship? Absolutely.
F-16s, the engines, the whole, the jets, I think it's just awesome.
I've seen them many times, but they just keep getting better and better.
After 50 years, the Thunderbirds are bigger, faster, and better than ever. Their skills represent much more than the red, white, and blue of the team. The men and women who are the Thunderbirds also represent every person who wears the Air Force uniform. They do that fast, they do that low, and they do that loud.